You're watching Kaitlyn Today's Anniversary Special. Get ready for a fun-filled episode, including a sensational ice cream parlor located across Bradley International Airport, an exclusive interview with one of Connecticut's favorite meteorologists, Scott Haney, and an appetizing sneak peek of our special anniversary cake with Chef Renee Williams of Simply Fresh Foods. So let's get ready to celebrate.
I'm here at Dairy Cream today with current owner and Windsor resident Joe Pierce. This parlor has been around a lot longer than many of your competitors. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of Dairy Cream?
It started in 1954. A gentleman by the name of Bud Hancock. Actually, he started as a restaurant down the street, down Route 75, a little closer to Windsor. It was a restaurant. For a couple years they had a restaurant. I think it was mainly breakfast and lunch. And then I don't know how he got into it, but eventually he switched it to just ice cream and moved down here in like 1960 or 61. So it's been at this present location for 50 years or so.
When were you first introduced to Dairy Cream?
I'm originally from Chicago. I came here in 2001. The original owner, Bud Hancock, passed away in about 95 or so, and his wife carried on the business for the next few years, and she was a little sickly. So my brother-in-law and my sister, along with Margaret Hancock, they kind of ran the business for a few years. It was becoming a little much for all of them. The original owner's Bud's son was, they both worked in New York City. So they brought me in trial year in 2001. So this is my 13th year being here.
What do you think makes Dairy Cream so successful?
I'm sure everybody who comes up has their own reason. I mean, we hear nothing but great reviews about it, but I think the length that we've been here since 1954 just adds. We have, you know, parents, grandparents bringing their kids, and it's just, it keeps going on and on. It's a cycle of, you know, oh, I used to come here when I was a kid. I can bring my kids here. I can bring my grandkids there. We've established it's an institution in this area, Suffield, Windsor Locks, so forth. And people just, I mean, getting ice cream when you're young or through middle school, high school, and when you're married with kids, it just brings back good feelings. And I think it just, people just want that feeling of happiness back. And I think the fact that we sell an excellent product, we have excellent customer service, and I think it's, so the customer service, the product, and then just being here so long and just having those fond memories of people growing up eating ice cream here. And I think that's why we're doing well. What
do you consider to be your most popular flavor?
That depends. On hard ice cream, we probably sell more of mint chocolate chip. The item we sell the most of is obviously vanilla soft serve. That's our main ingredient, but we use that for, you know, most of our milkshakes, all of our flurries, most of our sundaes, and so forth. So vanilla soft serve would be number one. And then we have about 25 to 30 hard ice cream flavors. So we have quite a bit, but it seems like year after year, mint chocolate chip is really popular. There's a few others, you know, a salted caramel, chocolate covered pretzel. And we try to tweak it a little bit, but you really can't get away from with hard ice cream, mint chocolate chip, vanilla chocolate, strawberry.
Yeah.
Those have always been really popular.
I hear you make your own creations. How do you come up with all these different concoctions?
A lot of it is the employees who work here. They come up with ideas. Customers, we ask what they like. We get some crazy ideas, and then we're like, oh, that is pretty good. Let's try that. But a lot of it is just our trial. You know, on a slow, rainy night, you're working here and there's, you know, no customers. You put stuff together that, like green apple and caramel, the green apple ice cream and caramel topping, and it just, you try it. But a lot of it, I think, is the kids who work here. They're good creative minds, and they seem to come up with some pretty neat stuff.
So what's on the horizon for Dairy Cream? Have you been looking to expand or sell other items or frozen treats?
In the last 2 years, we just completely remodeled the building. If you haven't been here in a year or two, you won't recognize it. I mean, it looks completely different. So we have a brand new building. We've expanded. We added another window. People who do come during the summer nights, let's say 8 o'clock, the lines can tend to be long. So we added a fourth serving window. We now have 4 serving windows, which seems to help make the line shorter. So that was one of our, I mean, that's our major improvement, basically a new building in the last 2 years. We just got into selling ice cream cakes last year. We've actually done pretty well with the ice cream cakes. We sell quite a few a day. So that was something we added, ice cream cakes. As far as the future, we're not sure. We're still trying to feel out how we're doing with the building and the space and that. Maybe, you know, exterior landscaping, a gazebo, or, you know, something with the outside, or, you know, you always think, oh, if we could have land next door, maybe batting cages, or, you know, something like that. But as of right now, we're kind of getting our feet wet with the new building and ice cream cakes and that kind of stuff. And we do hot dogs. And last year we tried until selling them late, but it seemed to interfere with our main focus, which is ice cream and bringing ice cream to the customers. So we don't want to really get into the food. We want to stay with ice cream.
Right. Clearly there's a lot of competition between you and franchise companies. What separates you from them?
I think a neat thing I've noticed too about Connecticut, like where I grew up in Chicago and then the suburbs, it's a lot more strip malls, a lot more, you know, the franchise. You know, there's an Old Navy here and there's a Dick's, and then it's just same name after same name. Whereas, and I've noticed with Connecticut, it's a lot of independent businesses, and the people who live in Connecticut, they seem to enjoy that, the independent dealers, retailers, and so forth, and they seem to strive to try to keep them in business. Whereas like downtown Windsor and Windsor Locks and that, you really don't have those Old Navies, or not to pick on Old Navy, that's the only one I can think of, but I think the people of Connecticut support independent places, and I think that's why we do well. And actually in New England, a lot of independent ice cream shops do well. I think it's staying away from the brand names and supporting the local guy down the street.
Now there's still some time left before Dairy Cream closes for the season.
Right. We usually close in mid-October, so October 15th or so.
Are there any final words you have for your new customers?
Just come on down, visit us. We appreciate the business over 60 years. Actually, next year will be our 60th year. We try to keep people happy. We sell the best, what we think the best product. We try to get the best employees here, and we just try to bring, you know, a little sunshine to people in the nice summertime. So other than that, thanks for the business. We hope to see you.
Well, I will definitely come here when the anniversary comes.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Joe.
Great, thanks a lot, thanks.
I'm here with Scott Haney today from WFSB Channel 3 News.
I love him. Are you going to talk to me?
I'm definitely going to talk to you.
You going to ask me questions?
Lots of
Anything
questions.
hard? No trigonometry.
There might be a little bit in there.
Oh, geez. All right. That interview's coming up next.
To see what it's like behind the scenes at Dairy Cream, visit www.facebook.com/Kaitlyn today.
So Scott, how did you first become interested in meteorology?
Actually, I was not interested in meteorology. They were interested in me being interested in meteorology because I went to school for broadcast journalism. And when I was taking some of my classes, there was a class where you had to rotate doing different positions. You had to be the news anchor, you had to be the production assistant, you had to be the assignment editor, you had to be the cameraman, you had to be the reporter, you had to be the sports guy, you had to be the weatherman. And every time I did the weather, my professors said, you should really focus your career on weather. And I said, I don't know anything about the weather. And they were like, nobody knows anything about the weather. And I said, could I get a job doing the weather without knowing anything about the weather? And they were like, absolutely. And I was like, how does that happen? So I did, and I started focusing my attention on putting together a weather resume tape. And that's how I got my first job, as a weatherman, not a meteorologist, in Topeka, Kansas. Yeah, which is bizarre because you would think that they would want meteorologists out there because of the tornadoes and the violent weather, but they gave me a start and I was very grateful. So I shifted from news to weather.
So where did you go to school for?
I went to St. John's undergrad and I majored in business because I didn't think that I could ever become a middle-class kid from Long Island, didn't think he could get on television. So I was like, well, I'm not going to pursue a television career because how am I going to get into it? So I went to St. John's for business and I graduated from there, and then I tried a couple of different things, and then I met a woman in one of the companies I was working for, and she said, you're wasting your talents. What do you want to do? And I said, I really want to be in television. I said, television news. And she said, go back to school. And I said, okay. I said, where should I go? And she goes, go to Syracuse. They have the best communications program. So I said, okay. And she kind of helped me with my application, and I got accepted. And I went to Syracuse for my graduate work. So I spent 2 years there, and they taught me every single thing I ever needed to know about getting a job in television. And then when I got the job as a weatherman, I came back home to the Northeast, and I got a job at News 12 in Westchester County, and they called me in and they said, what do you know about the weather? And I said, not much. And they said, well, in order to do the job, we want you to be a meteorologist, so they sent me back to school. So it took me like 5 years part-time to take the necessary weather courses in order to call myself a meteorologist. And that was a very difficult process because it's all science and it's not easy.
How long have you been a part of the Channel 3 team?
I'm in my 15th year. So I started here when I was 34 back in 1998, and next year I will be 50. Ooh. And I am still here. Knock wood. It's a great place to be, and yeah, I've been with Channel 3 for 15 years. I love it. I love it. A lot of people have asked me why I haven't moved on to bigger markets or network. First of all, the opportunity has to be there at the right time, because your contract has to be up and there has to be an opening at a bigger market. And so that kind of opportunity didn't present itself. And during the end of one of my contracts, I was offered a job in Chicago, which is the third market in the United States. And I turned it down because the salary increase wasn't that substantial. And I love Connecticut. My family's in New York. I grew up on Long Island. They're still in New York. I get to go visit them whenever I want. They're 2 hours away. And I have Boston, I have New York, I have the two major cities in the world at my disposal. And I just, I love being at Channel 3, and my experience here. My management team is incredible. They've been with me since the start. Both my news director, my assistant news director, and the general manager, all three are still here. And they all started like the day they graduated from college. So it's good to have them here, and they support me. And it's a great experience.
Who inspires you most in the world of broadcast television?
I know this is going to sound bizarre, but it's Mary Tyler Moore. You don't even know who she is, probably, right?
Probably not.
She's an actress, and she had a show back in the 70s. It was called The Mary Tyler Moore Show, and she worked in a newsroom. She was the producer for the news, and it was a show about the news industry, and her boss, Lou Grant, and the news anchor, Ted Baxter. And I just became interested. I didn't know what it really was, but I was like, this is the news business, and I love that show so much that I said that this is what I want to do. I want to work in the news business because they were having so much fun, and it was such a crazy world. So that was kind of like my first seed, my first implant as to why I wanted to be in the news business. So I give it up to Mary Tyler Moore for kind of helping me out, making my decisions.
What was possibly your most embarrassing moment on camera?
The producer had added a weather hit in the show that was not there, a previous. So I had always gone to the bathroom during that time, and I went to the bathroom that day. And in my ear, because we wear this earpiece so we can hear the producers, they were saying, Scott, where are you? Where are you? And I'm in the bathroom going to the bathroom. And I'm like, because I know my microphone is on, and I know that they can hear me and I can hear them. And I said, I'm in the bathroom and I don't know what to do. So I finished going to the bathroom. Everybody was laughing. And I was so embarrassed. And I went outside and everybody was laughing. And we just said, I said, you'll have to excuse me, I was taking care of business. And then literally I was taking care of business. So it was embarrassing and funny at the same time.
I love your sense of fashion.
Oh, well, thank you.
Can you tell us about your style?
I like bold and bright things because I think everybody's muted on television. Guys come out in their blue suits and they wear their white shirts, right. And so as a weather person, you get to have a little bit more of a personality. So I kind of like to dress it up a little bit. When you're reading about death and murder and bank robberies, you can't be wearing floral prints and stripes and different things like that. You kind of have to be, but as a meteorologist, you get to be a little bit more animated. So that's why I wear crazy pants like this. I guess you'd call my style like preppy. Brooks Brothers, J. Crew. I shop in a lot of outlets. I will not buy anything unless it's on sale. Absolutely will not buy it if it's not on sale. And if it's not on sale, I will wait till it goes on sale. And if I don't have a coupon, I will wait for a coupon. If I walk into Banana Republic and it's not 40% off, I'm not buying it. So that's, and every now and then, like these pants, I waited. I got these in an outlet in Kittery in Maine.
Oh, we go there all the
Yeah, isn't it great? It's a great place.
Yeah.
But that's where I get all of my clothes. Even my dress shirts, everything is on sale.
Wow.
But it tends to be more bold, but kind of with a conservative, preppy edge to it. Yeah, like Ralph Lauren type look.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that's that. Very like yours. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
If I were a woman, that's exactly how I would dress.
You have quite the personality, and I, along with many other fans, consider you very humorous. Have you always been this way?
I think I used humor. I was kind of picked on a little bit in high school, so I think I used humor as a way to. It was like a defense. Yeah, I guess I've always been humorous, but I used it more not to be like a smart aleck, but more as a let's keep everybody laughing so that they won't make fun of me. Right. So I was bullied a little bit in high school. Not a lot, not physically or anything like that, but emotionally. And I would just keep people laughing and just keep people laughing, and that kind of eased the situation a little bit. So humor came to me as a defense, and also I grew up with two older brothers, and we were all vying for attention. The funniest wins. So I developed, I don't know, I guess I was born with this sense of humor, and I just let it go, and it's kind of helped me along the way. So I think it's what makes our morning show #1 in the state, and I think people tune in to get the news, but they also tune in to get a smile on their face, so it's works, and people seem to appreciate it, and it's a good thing.
Now, what is the feedback you hear from your fans?
Mostly all good. 98% terrific, 2%. When they're mean, they're mean. They're mean. So you have to have a little bit of a tough skin.
Yeah.
But again, most of my letters, most of my emails, they're all fantastic. They're very appreciative of the charity work that I do. They love my sense of humor. They share a lot in common with me. And I think they're really kind of in touch with me because, I worked in a supermarket for 12 years.
Right.
So I come with normal, everyday experience. Like, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and I think they understand that, and they get it, and they respond to that, and they appreciate it. So most of it's good. When it's bad, it's bad. Sometimes they don't like what I say.
Right.
Sometimes they don't like my opinion. Sometimes they think opinion should be left out of the news. Some don't like my sexuality. Some don't like the way I dress. Some don't. They make fun of my hair. If they can make fun of something, they'll make fun of something.
Right.
And it took a while to, like every negative email I would get, I'd be like, and then you just have to kind of just let it roll off your back. And as my bosses say, never respond to the negative. Just delete it and move on.
Right.
So that's what I do.
I know you are a big community service advocate. Can you tell us more about the work that you do?
I do a lot of work with the Channel 3 Kids Camp, which is it's a huge 350-acre camp up in Andover in Connecticut, and they have underprivileged children come in throughout the whole summer, and it's one of the only overnight camps in the state of Connecticut. So they can go for a week or 2 weeks, and all I have to do is come up with $50 for a whole week overnight stay, which is incredible. And I think it costs us about $858 a camper per week because we feed them. We give them shelter, we give them swimming lessons and zip lining and archery and every single thing that a camp would have. And so I'm involved with raising money that helps support the kids camp. So kind of most of my charity events are geared towards the Channel 3 Kids Camp, and then I do a lot of fundraising for animals because I'm a huge animal proponent. I love animals. I have cats. I would have dogs if I were home, but I'm never home. The cats are kind of self-sufficient, so I do a lot of help with Our Companions. That's a wonderful organization. Protectors of Animals, Animal Friends of Connecticut, ARF, Animal Rescue Foundation, the Little Guild, St. Francis out in Northwest Connecticut. And it's kind of hard to say no to groups. And then I do individual, every now and then somebody will ask me to come out and do for somebody who's sick. And I do a lot of speeches at senior centers. Right. And I go into classrooms and, speak to those. But most of my philanthropy is based around kids and animals.
What jobs did you have prior to becoming a meteorologist?
How much time do you have? Because I got a long list.
Oh, we're good for time.
Oh, all right. Well, my first job ever was cutting lawns. Mm-hmm. Second job was paper route. And then when I got my first, I guess it was my first real job, like with paperwork and an hourly rate, Pathmark Supermarkets. And I worked there for years. I was there for 12. I started in 1980 and I didn't finish until I kind of went off to grad school. And even through grad school I was there. So probably about 12 to 14 years I worked for the supermarket part-time. Mm-hmm. And then for a period of time I went full-time. And I worked in the supermarket. I worked on the front end. I was the customer service person and told the cashiers when to go on their breaks and ran the front end and made sure people got off on time and helped the customers out. And that's what I did. And then when I graduated from college, I got a job in a clothing company, Saks Fifth Avenue, and I got into their executive training program because I didn't know yet that I could get a job in television. And I went through their executive training program and I didn't really like the job. And then I tried to be an actor. That didn't work out because I wanted health benefits. And I was like, I'm not getting health benefits by doing this. Then I went back to retail. I worked for Brooks Brothers. And then I stayed there for a little less than a year, and that's when I went off to grad school. And then when I came back from grad school, I got the job in Topeka, Kansas. And then I didn't stay in Topeka long. I came home, didn't have a job in television, and I went to work for Gray Advertising in New York City and Human Resources. I kind of just fell into the job. They gave me the job. I started working there. They trained me, and then my dream of being in television was slipping away. And then about 3 years later, a young lady that I had gone to Syracuse with called and told me about a part-time job that was open in News 12 in New Jersey. They were looking for a weekend weather guy. Didn't have to be a meteorologist, which I wasn't at that point. And I got that job. And I've been doing the news ever since.
Which of these jobs has been your favorite?
Oh, this would clearly be. I love working in the supermarket. I did, and I actually thought I thought maybe I would turn that into a full-time career. Wow. But I didn't. And my mother was like, I want you to do more with your life. And I was like, all right. So to please her, I went on and got more education. And but the supermarket was a great place. It was a lot of fun. I had a good amount of friends, and there was always something different. The customers were fun and wonderful and nutty at the same time, and it was fun. I also like cutting. I love to play in the garden too. So if somebody came to me today and said, you can't do this anymore, I'd be like, all right, I'll go back to the supermarket. Or I'll cut lawns, but it's interesting what you do throughout your life, but this is clearly the best job I've ever had.
How has being a meteorologist and show host shaped you as a person?
It's taught me patience. It's taught me restraint. It's helped me from cursing. I think you have to constantly rise to the occasion. There is no bad mood. There is no off time. Right. Because if I go to a supermarket and I stand in line and the cashier is slow, or there's a problem and the line is backing up and you're standing there, most people get aggravated.
Yeah.
I can't get aggravated because people will say, that's Scott Haney, he's just not a nice person. Or, things that bother everybody else that bother me, if I get a bill from CL&P and I call up to complain, who is this? It's Scott Haney. Oh, I watch you on TV and you're nasty in real life. Like, you constantly have to be nice. Right. So you're on all the time. So no matter where you are in public, even though you might not be working, you're working. So it's kind of, I guess it's helped me to become a better person, because you kind of have to put everything into perspective and just let certain things roll off your back and do the best that you can, right. You know, in light of everybody's watching you. And everybody's watching you all the time. And I'm not saying I'm like a huge celebrity, but, you know, people have literally grown up watching me. I'm sure, when did you start watching me?
Oh, since forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you were not even born. How old are you?
I'm 17.
So you were 2 when I came to this market. So you're probably the weather guy that you grew up with.
Yep.
Well, you don't want to run into a schmuck when you're out in public, right? You want to meet the guy who you've been watching on television, and you hope that he's got the same personality. So you kind of have to make sure that there are no bad moods, and you know, you can't drink too much in public, but you have to be very cognizant of, you know, some people will have a drink and then they'll wait a couple of hours, and then they watch everything. So you got to be very careful with, you know, what you do and how you behave, not only in front of the camera, but behind the camera as well.
What do you love most about being part of the family here at WFSB?
This Channel 3, I've been through some rough times in the 15 years that I've been here. And the mainstay has been Channel 3. Mm-hmm. I can always know that this is the constant, and that I can go into my boss's office and sit, and if I need to cry, I can cry. Or if I need to talk about a problem, I can talk about a problem. If I need to call her at 11:30 on a Saturday night, I can call her at 11:30 on a Saturday night. No matter what was going on in my personal life, this has been a mainstay and has been a force of good in my life that has really grounded me. And I think, you know, when I was 16 and I had a little bit of an attitude problem and they took me out of the courtesy desk at Pathmark and moved me into the produce department, I was like, I'm not working here, I quit, you know, and then 3 months later I went back. You can't do that anymore because there's a lot to lose. Mm-hmm. And I think this job has helped me to realize that, you know, there's a lot, you're working for a lot and there's a lot to lose. So you always remember where you're from. You make sure that you are, you know, friendly and nice to everybody, and you know, you can't obviously get along with everybody, but you do the best you can. And but for the most part, the Channel 3 has just been it's a family. Mm-hmm. It's a family, and you know, as much as my regular family is, this is another family. I mean, I leave here, but I see the people here way more than I see any of my brothers or my parents, you know, so it's a good thing because I get along great with everybody here, and I love the people that I work with. So I'm very, very fortunate.
Well, thank you, Scott.
My pleasure, Caitlin. That was great to meet you.
It was nice to meet you, too.
Thanks for coming in.
This is Caitlin reporting from Channel 3 News. See you next time.
If you would like to join me as Chef Renee shares her secret baking tips and helps make Caitlin Today's Anniversary dessert, go to www.facebook.com/CaitlinToday.
I invited a few of my friends here to celebrate with me Caitlin Today's first anniversary. I want to thank all of you for watching my show and supporting me for all this time at Win TV. So now we're going to celebrate with this German pancake, and let's sing happy birthday to Caitlin Today. Happy birthday to